Now back to the morning news with Hal, Brian, Steve, Amy, and Brad. WBAP.
747 at WBAP. The term job juggler, Hal. There was a story in the New York Times. I'd never heard this phrase before, but it makes total sense. A job juggler is simply someone who has more than one job.
Yeah.
And we're starting to, I've been like that all my life. You have too.
I've had 2 or 3 jobs before. Yes.
I've got 2 or 3 right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a case where folks do it for different kinds of reasons. One is to meet a certain number as far as what they're making. 2 is because they've got debt they got to take care of. 3, they just like to work. You know, and they've got time on their hands. We're going to bring in Paul Bazell right now, who's the founder of Adviant Inc., which is kind of a human resources consulting group. Paul, is this a new trend? Because as Hal and I were talking, we've all had multiple jobs for years.
Well, Brian, it's not really a new trend. It's actually something rather old, something we normally consider normal for aspiring creative types like artists and actors, and as well as, dare I say, in present company, journalists.
Yeah, to use that loosely.
But it has expanded to other professions, and that's largely a result of the uncertain economy.
So are we seeing more and more job jugglers in the market right now? Steve-O was talking that he and Deborah went to dinner Saturday night, had a waiter at a nice restaurant, and then Sunday for lunch had the same waiter at a different restaurant. Are we seeing more and more of that?
Absolutely. In our work at Adviant, we broadly categorize these folks in 2 groups. Those that want to have multiple jobs, like you were talking about, and then there are those that have to. The want-to folks you've already talked about. They are a minority of folks who take multiple jobs as a means. Oftentimes, they're testing the water and financing the launch of maybe their own business. But the other group, the people that have to, are oftentimes college students that are pressured into being job jugglers because they can't find work in their field, so they're taking whatever jobs they can get to cobble together a living.
Now, when you talk about a person who has 2 or 3 jobs, are you talking about somebody that has 2 or 3? You can't have 2 or 3 8-hour-a-day jobs. What kind of?
Oh, there are some people who do.
Is that right?
True. The big downside of that, obviously, is burnout, where you get yourself spread so thin that the person isn't really doing a great job at anything.
Well, when you think about it, too, Paul, I wonder how that affects the unemployment numbers that we see right now, where a guy has actually got those 2 full-time jobs. He's taken one from someone else, isn't he?
Absolutely, and it does skew the numbers.
All right, when you think about it, job juggling, as Paul mentioned, has been around for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's a necessity. Sometimes you do it by choice. But sometimes, as you mentioned on the creative front, Paul, it's an opportunity for somebody to get a startup off the ground. You've got an idea. It's not paying all the bills, so you've got to continue with another job, right?
Absolutely. That is a minority of folks, but it is a great way to test the water and see if really you have what it takes with your idea, or even just personally to be your own boss.
Paul Bazell, Adviant Inc. is the website. By the way, it's Adviant, I should say, is the website. You can check him out at Human Resources Group, adviant.com. He can help. Thank you, Paul, for the time.